welcome
to another episode of Doctor Who, Time and Space, and it's episode 160 today.
the mighty podcast of Who-related stuff.
Yeah.
So what do we have on the show this week then, Mr. Moon?
Well,
I'm pretty cool, by the way. Hello.
Yeah. Can you believe it's episode 160? We say it every week.
I know, it goes so quick, doesn't
Obviously, we don't say exactly the same thing as it's. Can you believe it's episode 160? Because it's not episode 160 every single week. Did we mention who we are called? Did we mention our names?
I don't know whether we did actually.
Lewis Moon.
And I'm Deacle. Hello.
Yeah.
Good evening. Welcome to Doctor Who Time and Space. What do we have on this week's show?
Maybe you're listening to this in the morning. We don't know.
Maybe you are.
But for all of you Doctor Who fans, we'll be talking about the 2010s and what monsters and villains that era brought us, and that's the final feature of our monster series.
Yes, indeed. We'll also be giving our thoughts and reviews on the John Pertwee Third Doctor story, The Claws of Axos.
You could say.
Claws of Axos, even.
Yeah, classic.
Classic.
You could say.
But is it a classic? Find out later.
There's more news from the whoniverse.
There is indeed. We'll be pressing the magic randomizer.
And there's another round of Who to face.
Okay. So, am I right in thinking that you finally got around to watching the rest of the arc?
Yes!
So it's only taken about 2 months.
Yeah, it has.
Have you enjoyed it?
Yeah, I have enjoyed it.
Yeah?
The second half was much better.
Ooh.
I watched both parts on Tuesday, I think.
I certainly like the monsters in it, the furry.
The monoids.
The monoids, yeah, I like those.
I like the monoids.
Yeah.
Turn out to be baddies.
No, but they're too cute.
Too
Surely
cute
not.
to be baddies.
They're far too cute to be baddies.
With their big hairdos.
They do. I apologise now if you can hear this sort of weird whirring noise. We're not inside the TARDIS, but there is some things washing in the background, and you can hear that clunking about possibly.
Yeah.
So it probably sounds like we're in some sort of weird spaceship.
Have you
But
been?
we're not, I promise.
Have you been doing anything Who related?
Only really watching Claws of Axos.
Mm.
And yet again, for another week running, I've not really watched too much television other than Game of Thrones.
Okay.
For
me, I've been watching my normal Red Dwarf and, of course, The Ark.
The Ark, yes.
So,
yes.
Now,
and The Simpsons, of course, which we watched whilst we had our lunch, didn't we?
Yeah.
New series of The Simpsons. Not really watching much at the moment. It's not that I don't want to, because there's loads of things. I still don't. I think I said last week that I was planning on watching some more of my Blake 7 episodes last week, and I haven't got around to it. I've still got the Deadwood box set that I bought a while back, and it's still sat there on the top of my shelf. I don't know. I've just been struggling to get in the mood for really watching too much.
Yeah.
The Daredevil season. Haven't watched it yet.
Oh no.
What's going on?
You haven't watched Daredevil?
I haven't watched the Pee Wee Herman movie yet.
You haven't watched Sherlock?
I haven't, no.
Have you watched any more Blake 7?
No, haven't. No.
I thought you said last week.
Yeah, that's what I just said just a second ago.
Oh yeah, you did.
Yeah. so no, I've not really been watching much at all.
No more Red Dwarfs?
I did watch a Red Dwarf. I watched Backwards.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, which is my favourite one.
Yeah, it is. Mine as well.
I watched that last Sunday, I think. And that's still funny when you watch it now, actually. I've watched it probably about 4 or 5 times, that one. But it still makes me laugh.
My favourite one so far.
Yeah.
I've got to the end of series 5 now.
Have you?
Mm.
Good crumbs. You're getting quite through them. I think I've only watched up until probably season 6.
Have you?
Have you got to the one yet where they've got all the historical characters in it? Like Elvis and Hitler? Yeah. What series
when
is
they
that?
have to pit the war.
Yeah.
Series 4 finale.
That's a good one, if I remember right.
Yeah.
Still a great series.
It is.
Yeah.
We've seen Danny John Jules and Hattie Haybridge.
We have. They were at the Bournemouth Comic Con, weren't they?
Yeah.
Actually, whilst we're talking about that, just briefly, because we're getting quite excited about the London Comic Con now, aren't we?
July, yeah.
In July.
And you can see us there.
Yeah.
Remember, we'll be there and we'll be signing any autographs.
We will, yes.
If you're a fan of the podcast,
yeah.
or the vidcast, or the Figure Adventures, or the channel, or just us, then we'll happily sign your autographs for free.
You'll have to bring the Peter Capaldi figure with you and sellotape a pen to his arm, and then he can sign things.
Yeah. Well, it'll be for free. Don't worry. So you can do that.
Unless we charge £15 for our autographs as well, which we could do, couldn't we?
Yeah, but we're not going to be cruel like that. You can get our autographs for free.
That is true.
If you're going.
Yeah. So there we have it. That's probably our little roundup.
Have you been doing anything much more than that?
I haven't really. No. I'd say it's been fairly quiet on the.
It has.
I watch a bit of football, but it's not. This isn't a podcast of football.
And talking a bit about quiet stuff, the news is quite quiet, to be honest.
Is it?
Week.
So we still haven't got any filming news, and even though we're on the 21st now, so we're some way through May, and
I think this week we
so?
will.
Okay.
It's the final proper week of May.
Yep.
I think next week we may have some news. Got a feeling.
So if it's a little bit of a quiet week, what news do we have?
So this week, quite exciting for David Tennant fans.
Yeah.
The 10th Doctor Adventures Volume 1 was released by Big Finish.
Okay.
And it's featuring David Tennant and Catherine Tate playing the 10th Doctor and Donna, and there will be 3 stories which will be available exclusively from the Big Finish website for the next few months before going on general release at the end of August. So we've got 3 stories: Technophobia, Time Reaver, and Death and the Queen. I'm going to read you the 3 of them. I'm going to see which one of them you like the best. So.
No, I haven't listened to them, but you mean in terms of judging it by the summary, yeah?
Yeah, by the summary. Have we read these before?
I don't think we have, no.
And from cover art as well. Actually, I won't read them because they're quite long. What about cover art? What do you think of the covers overall? What do you think of the trailer that we've listened to?
Actually, the trailer was quite impressive, I thought.
It was
Which one was the trailer for? Was it for the first one?
It was for all of them.
For all of them, was it? Okay. In terms of cover art, I really like the cover on Death and the Queen, actually. I think.
I like the cover for Time Reaver.
So, villains. What villains have we got in these? Can we tell
got some new villains.
Are there new villains in all 3 of them?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, that's interesting as well.
The cognoscenti, Vakingtians, and Death are the bad guys.
Death. Interesting. Okay.
What do you think about the 10th Doctor audios? I mean, they've been highly anticipated from the reviews. What do you think of the reviews?
Yep. There's certainly... I've only seen a few comments on Twitter, and they were all very positive.
I've seen some reviews on the Big Finish website that they released.
Yeah.
And they were very, very positive.
Yeah. I mean, people... I think we might have talked about this a little bit last week, but people really love the Doctor and Donna, don't they? And although I don't share that, because I really dislike the Doctor and Donna together, I think there's... We know damn well, don't we, that when they did a poll recently, or one of the polls we saw recently around best companions, Donna came up top. So people obviously do really have a soft spot for her. So certainly, I think it's quite a good achievement for Big Finish.
It is. Do you think they'll get? So the second question: do you think there'll be a second series? And do you think it will have Catherine Tate in it? Because it's called Volume 1.
I think that they would, if they can commission both Catherine Tate and David Tennant to do another series, I'm sure they will.
Yeah.
Sure they will, yeah.
They may do it with Rose or Martha.
They might do eventually, but I've got a feeling that...
I don't think they'd do them with Martha, because she's not very popular, to be honest. I like her, but she's
Yeah.
not very popular with the fans, really.
But she's one of my favourite, the
She is.
David Tennant era companions, to be honest. But I can't say necessarily that these are things I would be particularly that enthralled with, just because of the fact that I don't really like Donna very much. But from the trailer that we heard, it sounded very impressive, I thought, and I'm sure people will really, really enjoy it.
Well, it's a 4-disc box set that's come out at the moment.
So if it's a 4-disc box set and there's 3 stories, what's the fourth one?
Includes exclusive artwork, photography, articles, and an hour-long documentary featuring interviews with the stars and production team, plus a bonus documentary examining the worlds of Doctor Who at Big Finish.
Okay, that makes sense.
What was I going to ask as my third question?
I do think it's quite...
Oh, yeah, no, what? Sorry.
No, that's okay.
No, you carry on. I've got mine in my head.
Okay, I do think it's quite brave of them not to immediately launch into having the Daleks in it.
Yeah.
So it's good that they've gone for something a bit different.
Yeah,
from
it is.
perspective.
Do you think they'll be just David Tennant, or do you think they'll get like Matt Smith or something in the future?
Well, you mentioned the other day, didn't you? I can't remember where... Was it on maybe Free Scara we might have been listening to, and they were talking about Matt Smith, and he apparently said...
He would do, but he hasn't been asked.
He would do, but hasn't been asked. So I'm sure at some point or other they will ask him.
I don't think they'd get Christopher Eccleston.
No, I think he's probably the one that struggled with more. I'm sure they'll get Capaldi eventually.
Capaldi would want to do it.
No doubt about that.
Definitely. I think he'd do it when he'd finished Doctor Who.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, I think what is good is it shows that the Big Finish franchise is going from strength to strength.
Yeah, and we announced the other week that it's going on until 2025.
Exactly.
Which that license is extended to longer than the Doctor Who licenses at the moment.
That's right. So it's exciting stuff in the world of Big Finish, definitely. So if that was the news that was Big Finish related, did we have any other news as well?
We do have a bit more merchandise news. So we've had from Titan, we have had 11th Doctor, 10th Doctor, 12th Doctor, 9th Doctor, 8th Doctor, and 4th Doctor comics.
Yeah.
And now the 3rd Doctor is getting his own comic series.
It surprises me that they've gone for the 3rd Doctor next, actually.
I would have thought Patrick Troughton was the most comic-like out of the ones that you could have. John Pertwee would too, I think. I think you were working. Actually, looking at the covers for these comics. They look great.
On the picture we're looking at, there's 4 pictures. There's one which is like just a white picture with John Pertwee's face in the centre. I love that cover. That's absolutely fantastic.
They're brilliant. They're brilliant. They look brilliant, these comics. Yeah. But it's a 5-part mini-series written by fan favourite Doctor Who scribe Paul Cornell. Stars the 3rd Doctor as played by John Pertwee, alongside companions Joe Grant, Katie Manning, and the Brigadier Nicholas Courtney in classic Doctor Who action. Hitting stores and digital platforms on August the 31st, Doctor Who the 3rd Doctor expands Titan Comics' highly popular and critically acclaimed Doctor Who comics, which already include adventures from the 4th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th Doctors.
I get a bit confused on these comics. So, are these the same ones that you get?
Yeah.
They are. So eventually these
I only
stories...
get the 10th, 11th, and 12th ones.
Okay. Will these go into them as well eventually, or do you think it's just going to...
I don't know.
Right, okay.
It hasn't been announced.
Okay.
But I think they're just doing year 2 of the 10th, 11th, and 12th so far.
Okay. They certainly look really, really good, don't they?
They do.
Yeah.
So, sorry.
And just on the basis of the fact that we've been watching a fair few of the John Pertwee episodes recently and really enjoying them, so it's great to see some further stories.
Yeah. So, fresh off from last year's epic smash hit 4 Doctors, which I've read, and that was really good, Paul Cornell teams up with artist Christopher Jones to bring unexpected twists and turns to the lives of the 3rd Doctor and his companions in an all-new story, The Heralds of Destruction. Actor John Pertwee starred as the third Doctor in 128 episodes from 1970 to 1974.
Wow, I didn't realise there was that many.
Pertwee's portrayal as the Doctor was a suave, dapper, and technology-orientated man of action who spent his time stranded on Earth working with the international military group unit. Did you know yesterday was 20 years since John Pertwee's death?
Was it really?
Yeah.
I can actually remember it quite clearly, though. So you obviously wouldn't be able to because you wouldn't have been born.
No.
But I can remember it quite clearly. I was thinking because we've watched a few on the randomizer. We've had a few of the John Pertwee episodes on and played, haven't we? And actually, there's something quite exciting about the whole being stranded on Earth thing.
Yeah.
And that sort of close work with units.
And we'll talk a bit about one of those stories with John Pertwee, the Claws of Axos, later on in the show. Yeah,
but it's quite strong, isn't it? And I think you get a really good feel for unit, I think, in these stories.
You do.
Yeah.
So when something enormous and extraterrestrial crashes into Bedfordshire, the Dr. Joe Grant and the forces of UNIT under Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart mobilise immediately to investigate and find themselves in the middle of a pitched battle against a terrifying invader. But the shocking face that awaits their return to base may tip their whole world off its axis. The debut issue comes with 5 variant covers to collect, 3 art covers by artists Josh Burns, Simon Myers, and Paul McAfee, and a photo cover and a blank sketch cover. And you can see those in the show notes.
Excellent. Okay. That's good.
And did you know that you can do a special sketch? Did you know they do a blank cover on Titan Comics that you can draw your own editions?
That would, I mean, I like that idea, but that would be quite entertaining with me because you'd have 4 really good covers and then a really crap stick drawing. Because I can't draw at all.
Oh. Yeah. So last week we talked a bit about the Doctor Who magazine polls, didn't we? To vote for the best covers to celebrate the 500th issue of Doctor Who magazine.
Yeah, we did. And we started voting for them ourselves, didn't we?
We did. And now we have a special poll which is open, which is the final round, where they can select their favourite cover from the last 499 issues. The magazine celebrates its 500th edition next week, and the publishers are conducting a poll to find the fans' favourite cover of the magazine, which launched as Doctor Who Weekly in 1979. The 50 finalists have been selected by fans voting for their 5 favourite issues from each block of 50 issues. The 50 finalists have now been announced, and readers are invited to select their top 5 covers of all time. Voting will end at midnight on Sunday night, UK time, and the results announced next week. And I've already voted.
I voted for some, didn't I?
Yeah.
How far did I go? I thought I voted for them all, didn't I?
This is the final.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, okay, I'm with you now. Yeah.
Yeah, so I voted for it.
Okay, I'll have a vote.
The first cover's on there, by the way.
It's got to be, isn't it?
You knew that.
I think I might have mentioned last week when we were talking about this briefly. It was over that when we were talking about it offline, so to speak. But I sort of remembered a couple of those early ones from when I was a young whippersnapper, and I had a few of them.
Obviously, you remember the first one.
Yeah, I do remember the first one, yeah.
We both remember. I have the first one at home.
Yeah, I don't have the first one anymore. But...
Don't you?
No, but,
I know you wouldn't do, would you?
I think when you got hold of that, I think I said to you, didn't I, at the time? I used to have that one.
You did, I believe.
Yeah. It's interesting that the comic didn't come out until, the magazine, sorry, didn't come out until 1979, actually.
No.
But I guess thinking about it as well, I guess it was around that sort of time that comics and magazines were a little bit of their sort of heyday. I know certainly. I think I probably mentioned before that I used to be an avid reader of 2000 AD, and that started in 1977.
Okay.
It was really, really popular.
Yeah.
Certainly.
You loved it, didn't you?
I loved it. Yeah. Yeah, it's fantastic. I actually, I must get around to getting my old copies back from my mum's house because they were classic. So anyway, enough of my 2000 ADs. What about further news? You've got some more Big Finish news.
So more Big Finish news. We've got 2 Big Finish news now about box sets that have been announced. So there's further details for the War Doctor series, the 3rd edition of that, starring John Hurt and Jacqueline Pearce. So this autumn, the Time War rages on, with the War Doctor set to face Sontarans, an invasion of Earth, and the Dalek time strategist. So he's going to return as the War Doctor in September 2016 in 3 full audio plays from Big Finish Productions. This is The Agents of Chaos, the 3rd volume in an ongoing saga in which the War Doctor and Cardinal Olistra, played by Jacqueline Pearce, are thrown deeper into this time war.
So just to stop you there. So is Jacqueline Pearce there playing? Is she like the companion?
I think so. She's the other main character there.
Okay, that's interesting. I mean, Jacqueline Pearce was obviously Servalan in Blake 7. So. And
she was in Doctor Who, wasn't she?
She has been, yeah. I can't remember which ones, but she's in some
2 Doctors.
Is it? Oh, of course she was. Yeah, that's right. She was one of the androgens, wasn't she?
Yeah. Like the main one.
That's right.
So there's the Shadow Vortex, played by David Llewellyn and starring Neve McIntosh. The Eternity Cage by Andrew Smith, which also stars Dan Starkey, and The Eye of Harmony by Ken Bentley. This box set introduces a new player into the Time War, the Dalek time strategist, who is voiced, as with the Daleks, by Nicholas Briggs. At the end of Dark Eyes and the defeat of the Dalek time controller, it was hinted a new time strategist would be created in its wake, explained script editor Matt Fitton. You can pre-order Doctor Who, The War Doctor Volume 3, Agents of Chaos, from the Big Finish website, and you can see full details on the box set at misslowsmoonadventures.weebly.com.
Excellente.
Another box set that's coming. The lovely Gemma Redgrave is to star in in the 3rd volume of the New Unit series, alongside Ingrid Oliver. The Earth will rise once again under threat from the arch nemesis of the 11th Doctor, the Silence, who we'll talk a little bit about after this.
Okay.
These alien parasites have been trapped on Earth since the events of the Impossible Astronaut Day of the Moon, but Big Finish's new box set will see them breaking through the Time Lord's trap, leaving the world defenseless. So it's starring Gemma Redgrave as Kate Stewart, alongside Ingrid Oliver as Petronella Osgood, and James Joyce as Captain John Carter. Unit Silence can be pre-ordered today for just £20 from the Big Finish website ahead of its release in November 2016. You can download Unit Extinction and Unit Shutdown now. A 4th box set is to be released in May next year, a year's time.
Ooh.
And a bundle of all 4 releases is also available, which includes free UK postage.
Excellent. It's certainly really building, isn't it, Big Finish?
It is, yeah.
Very exciting, and long may it continue.
Yes.
I was going to mention about yourself and your Big Finish.
Oh,
If you
yeah.
want to talk about that another day.
Oh, we'll talk about it another day.
Okay.
It's okay.
Okay.
We'll talk about it some other time.
Okay, so any further news, Sarah?
No, there is no further news, sire.
Okay, in that case then, shall we move on then to our monsters section?
It's the final
The
monster
finale.
section. The finale.
So on this section, we've been looking at different eras of Doctor Who, and we've been looking at the monsters that have been faced. We've been commenting on which ones we think are worthy of a rerun, and
Which ones aren't?
which ones aren't, yeah, and which ones we particularly liked, yada yada yada, really.
Yeah.
And we've moved on to the Stephen Moffat era now.
Yeah, we have. And there are a few in here which are worthy of return, I suppose, and worthy of a little chat about.
Yeah.
But there are a few of these which maybe aren't.
Okay. Like
and
Star
could be
Whale.
forgettable. Yeah. Or Star Whale.
Okay, so if we kick off then, and I guess the first Stephen Moffat story that we saw as with him as showrunner,
yeah,
would be the Atraxi.
Yeah,
which were there for the 11th
in
hour.
the 11th hour, which is his first story and Matt Smith's first story.
Yeah, and we know that it's a lot of people's favourite debut Doctor story. Very, very popular, isn't it, the 11th hour?
It is.
A bit overrated, in my opinion.
Me too.
I like it.
It's good, but it's a bit overrated.
I think it's just that I don't like the big talk at the end of it. I think that's what it is.
Oh, yeah.
I find it a little bit cringy, the talk at the end. I tell you what, I did look cool, though. I don't know how you pronounce them now, but the Vampires of Venice.
Those Saturnines.
Yeah. They look really cool. I mean, they obviously look good as vampires, but they look even cooler when they turn into
They do.
fish-like
things, yeah. I like them.
Hmm.
Quite cool. Now, one of the main villains, which we did talk about a second ago, actually, are the Silents.
Yeah.
Would you say the main villain of the Stephen Moffat era? The most...
They're probably the standout in terms of image, aren't they?
In terms of image?
That we hadn't seen before. I mean, I think still you've got the Weeping Angels, but they
have appeared. And last
appeared,
week we did speak about what the reaction has been for the Weeping Angels in past and stuff like that. So
I think what is quite, to me, a fair comment about the Stephen Moffat era is there's lots and lots of really, really good monsters, but quite a few of them have been underused a bit. Yeah. And perhaps we'll pick up on those as we go through. But whilst keeping on the Silence, I mean, it's got a really great. It looks like the sort of the Scream painting, doesn't it? Yeah. And it is quite a scary concept. The whole fact that people forget that they've seen them. Yeah, it is cool. I think the Silents are a very clever idea for a Doctor Who monster. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and it's a typical Moffat type monster, isn't it? It's playing on your fears. Scary as well. Yeah. For most people. So, what are the standouts, do you think? What about the Gangers? What do you think about the Gangers? I mean, I actually really like that episode, the Rebel Flesh. And it celebrates its 5th anniversary, I think. Does today. It really? I really like that, but I noticed when we were looking through the Dawn ratings, it's quite low down, that one, isn't it? Yeah. I'm not quite sure why. I think it's a really classic one, a really great idea, the Gangers, and obviously played quite a key role in terms of the story, didn't it? They did, yeah. With what happened with Amy and things. And very interesting concept. And I agree with you. I quite like Rebel Flesh, almost people. Yes. Most people don't. I'll tell you what I would like to see as well. I'd like to see the Headless Monks again. Oh, yeah, they are cool. They were cool, weren't they? They're really good at, I mean, they had a sort of fleeting role, really, in A Good Man Goes to War. Yeah, they did. Aside from that... Peg dolls. The peg dolls were really creepy, weren't they? They were. Most people find dolls creepy at the best of times, and they really played on that. That was an episode, I think, where it's better than I think people will give it credit for, but could have been better. The ending, is it? Yeah, the ending's a bit naff, isn't it? And I think full stop, I would probably have changed the dynamics in it a little bit.
Yeah, you could have wrote it. We could have wrote it a lot better.
Yeah, definitely.
If someone else wrote, if someone else like us who was a Who fan wrote it and just knew. I mean, Mark Gatiss is a Who fan, but he just didn't really do a good ending for that one.
Yeah. I'll tell you something else that was quite interesting that we saw, and it was one of those rare things, and it was a good monster. It was in the God Complex.
Minotaur?
I was thinking more so Tivolis, is it?
Oh yeah, and they're in it as Prentice again.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
So the first one of these is Gibbous, played by David Walliams, from the God Complex.
Yeah.
And of course, we do see Prentice in Under the Lake, played by Paul Kay.
Yeah, that's right. So I like those, and it's good. It was good to have like a recurring creature there. Another one that was really good was the one we talked about last week, I think, or maybe the week before.
No, week before, because we watched Partners in Crime last week.
That's right. So, which was basically the cyborgs.
Carla's.
Carla cyborg, yeah. Who looked a bit like a Hauer.
Yeah, he's at London Comic Con.
He is, yeah. And then that was just I like the old Western things anyway, so that was quite cool. Like the other one that was a recurring one from going right back to the time of Patrick Troughton, I think.
Yeah,
was the Great Intelligence.
Oh yeah, in Matt Smith's era, they return the Great Intelligence.
Yeah,
for 2 stories.
So we see the Great Intelligence with its command over the snowmen, and we see it with the Spoonheads as well.
Yeah, and we do see it in Name the Doctor with the Whispermen.
The Whispermen as well, yeah.
What do you think about the Whispermen on the subject of the Great Intelligence?
Again, they were very much. Oh, there goes all of the studio. What do we think of the Whispermen? They were cool, I think. They were very underused.
Yeah. I think they should be in it again.
Yeah. They sort of a bit of the same sort of look as what we saw with the Silence, I think.
They are, yeah.
So yeah, definitely a good one. Tell you what was cool, and that's sorry, I'm ahead of myself. Various monsters from the Akatan. Actually, the monsters from Akatan are better than the episode.
Yeah. I quite like the monsters in Rings of Akatan.
What about that really weird creature from Hyde?
The Hider.
Yeah.
Quite weird. Very freaky.
There were some really weird monsters in this era, really. Alex, you had that. I mean, look at the ones that are on the screen at the moment. You had the Hider, you had the Time Zombies from Journey to the Centre of the TARDIS. Then you had Mr. Sweet. He's great.
Yeah, we watched Crimson Horror about a couple of months ago.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
Sweet is quite cute and weird.
And then the website here runs out of monsters at 20.
Yeah, let's go back. So let's go forward. I mean, so what monsters? What about the Teller? I mean, quite a letdown of a creature, really. Great design.
Yeah.
What did you think about the concept of the creature was great, but it turned out he was good.
Yeah, I think the ending of it was it was effectively the same ending as Hyde, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We've talked about before, but the whole idea of the monster, I think, was really, really good, and the fact that it gushes people's brains.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember now. Is it people have been lying? Is that why? Was they hiding a secret or something like that?
Yeah.
Something like that, isn't it? It gushes people's brains. Same series.
Mm.
And this is what I was going to start talking about earlier on, but it was the wrong one. Was the Mummy?
Foretold, yeah.
Yeah, the Foretold.
Foretold is great. Gives you 66 seconds to live.
Yeah.
No escape from it.
And that story to me is an absolute classic.
Yeah.
Who story.
And another one is the Skullvox Blitzer.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, in that particular episode, I guess it's a little bit throwaway, isn't it?
It is. I don't. On rewatch, when I rewatched Caretaker, I didn't like it as much.
No, I'd imagine it probably is I imagine actually it's a when they talk about rainy day type Who episodes, it probably fits into that category, doesn't it? But when I first watched it, I just had a face full of smiles because it was really entertaining. But
when you know the jokes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Just.
So
What about the boneless from Flatline?
That was a great concept, wasn't it?
It was.
And again, very, very different. You're never really sure exactly what they were.
Yeah.
I think actually through Moffat's era, there is a running thread that quite often the monsters they face aren't really villains.
No.
And if you think about it, we've mentioned a couple of them already.
And let me think. Series 9, were there any that weren't really?
I don't more so perhaps the previous season, because obviously
Season 8 was
the Foretold wasn't really a monster.
The Teller wasn't really.
Teller wasn't really a monster. I'm sure there's more than that as well.
There were.
Oh, the what's it called? The one with the ghost sort of thing in it. Grab your feet.
Oh, listen.
Yeah, not really a monster in that.
No.
So yeah, there was quite a number, which was still a really good series and everything like that, wasn't it? But
what about the Maya from Series 9?
They were cool, weren't they? I really liked them.
Would you say they were underused?
They were defeated a bit easily, weren't they?
Oh yeah, that was what our point was.
Yeah, for a species that were meant to be as intimidating and renowned as they were defeated with great ease.
Any others that we've got to mention? Oh, the Veil.
Yeah, the Veil was cool, wasn't it?
Quite a simple design, but quite creepy as a concept and a villain.
I do love the Whispermen.
I do, yeah.
The fact they've got no eyes, I think that's what makes them so creepy, isn't it?
What villain of these warrants a return?
Let's just flick back through.
And from the ones we talked about from Series 8 and 9. And then we'll go on to talk for like a minute or so about the returning monsters of this era.
Yeah. I'm not sure there's too many really which warrant design. Most of them feel like one-offs. I think you could definitely get away with the Silence going back. The Traxie maybe.
Yeah.
Headless Monks, I think you could. Aside from that, probably struggling a little.
Maybe Whispermen.
Yeah, the Whispermen, but I mean they were so linked to the Great Intelligence. So I'm not sure whether they could do in their own right, unless it comes up in Who to Face later.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's probably all I have to say.
Okay, what about returning villains? I mean, in this era, we obviously had the Daleks and the Cybermen. We had Zygons. We had Ice Warriors.
Yep.
We had Missy.
Yep.
Or the Master. Did we have any others? Weeping Angels.
Did we have any others? I think those are the main ones.
We did have Silurians
as well.
Yeah.
Some of them probably stronger than others.
Yeah, I mean the Ice Warriors and the Zygons.
Well, they were good because they looked still like the old designs.
Zygons were great in Zygon Invasion, Zygon Inversion. Great story.
Yeah.
High praise from me. You can see a review which are entitled Doctor Who Time and Space Zygon Invasion Review and Zygon Inversion Review.
Yeah.
2 separate episodes.
And as you say, the Ice Warriors were really, really cool, weren't they, when they returned? Yeah. Cybermen, been some good stories.
I mean, Dark Wolf's Death in Heaven was good.
Yeah.
Nightmare in Silver wasn't.
No.
Closing Time wasn't.
No, indeed. And they definitely they just feel a bit too cliched now. I'd like to see a really creepy Cyberman episode. Perhaps one with a single Cyberman in it. You know what happened with Dalek, with that one Dalek? Perhaps something where there's like a decrepit Cyberman uncovered somewhere, runs amok. That'd make a good story, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would.
In fact, write that down. Write that down for a future bigger adventure.
They'll probably copy us.
Yeah.
I think that's about it that we should talk about.
I think you're probably right.
And that's about it for the Monsters and Villains series.
Yeah. So have you got do you know what's coming next series wise? Yeah.
We're not doing a series next. Next week we're gonna do 10 episodes. You should give a second chance to watch before series 10 airs.
Okay.
Or some things, and then the following week we will do things. And and also maybe we'll actually touch on some other activities that you could do who related to bridge the gap between the series.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Brilliant. Good. So that probably takes us on to our review of
Claws of Axos,
So
which is a classic Pertwee story.
classic Pertwee.
Katie Manning.
Yeah.
Nicholas Courtney. Roger Delgado.
Yeah. So some big hitters there. Came up in the randomizer, and it's one we were really chuffed about when it came up in the randomizer. I mean, in terms of plot, it's all about the axons. They land on Earth because they're in need of fuel, and they're sort of what's the word? They basically feed off the planets, don't they?
Yeah.
And actually, what I thought was quite interesting, because although they look like a number of monsters, they're actually one single organism called axos. So the basics of it are that you've got the minister called Chin, and he's sort of what's the phrase? They basically persuade him that there's this miracle substance that's called axonite, which can actually, I guess it's sort of like a thinking molecule, so it can replicate any sort of substance. So if you put a bottle of wine there, you could have 2 bottles of wine.
Yay!
You're too young for wine.
I know.
You have to do it with a bottle of
Squash.
Squash. How about that?
J2O.
Yeah, party time.
Appetizer.
It introduces again the Master. Now, the Master had actually been captured by Axos, and he was using the knowledge that he had of the planet Earth as a bit of a bargaining tool in order to try and keep his life. He manages to get away from Axos and basically stumbles across the TARDIS, which he plans to actually repair to escape from Earth, knowing that Axos is going to basically destroy Earth by stealing all of its energy. Yeah. The Axos is really interested in time travel, because what it wants to do is be able to travel throughout time, building up greater feeding bases. And that's probably enough, I would say.
Yeah, I would say.
Yeah. So, what do you make of it?
It's a good one.
It is a good one,
A
yeah.
brilliant one.
Yes, it is a brilliant one. Classic villains.
Classic, yeah. I mean, they warrant a return.
Yeah.
And Claws of Axos is a really iconic story. And as I said last week, it's one I've been wanting to review for a while. I haven't watched it for a while.
Yeah.
And I only remembered the first part. I really enjoyed the story. The Master's good in it.
Would you say
Unit's
that
good.
is it as good as you remembered it being?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And it's quite high in my chart.
Yeah, I think it is in mine as well. So, do you like the Axons best when they're in spaghetti bolognese form or in sort of angelic looking form?
I don't know.
Because when they're gold, they look quite beautiful. Albeit they got scary eyes, but they look like a friendly race, don't they? But really, they're a bunch of scavengers, or they are a scavenger.
A scavenger which looks like spaghetti bolognese.
Yeah.
And crinoids.
Yeah. That's right.
Why do they look exactly like crinoids?
Yeah, they do a bit, don't they? Yeah. But
what do you think of the Master in this story? The other main villain.
I like the fact that you've got a lot of the Master in this series.
Yeah. Every episode.
Yeah. And obviously it's Delgado, so it's classic Master. I like on a few of these episodes where you've had the whole issue of whilst the Doctor and the Master are enemies, they have to work together.
Yeah.
And you've got another sort of scenario along these lines, haven't you?
Yeah,
where the two have to work together to actually achieve an end game, basically to try and get the TARDIS moving.
Yeah.
So, what do you think in terms of this particular series that this came from? Is this one of the stronger episodes in it?
I think it is. I mean, they've got Terror of the Autons, you've got Colony in Space, you've got the Diamonds. Very strong ones. Didn't mention Mind of Evil. Put that to the back.
Who's in the Mind of Evil?
Pardon?
What's the villain in Mind of Evil?
The Master.
You can't remember.
I can't remember.
No.
There is a cool thing about a machine which generates your nightmares, but from what I remember from it, I didn't really like it.
Yeah, not one of your favourites.
No.
I tell you what, there's some good cast in this one, wasn't there?
Yeah.
There's quite a few characters on it, but it ranged from obviously the Doctor and Joe Grant, but then you had the Brigadier returning again.
As always, yeah.
Really strong.
Benson and Mike Yates.
Yeah, that's right. So unit in full force. We talked a little bit earlier on about Chin.
There's some good supportive characters, yeah.
Bill Flyer, the American.
Filers, yeah, I like him.
Oh, that's it, Filer, wasn't it? Yeah. Bill
I
Flyer.
like him.
Yeah, I liked him as well. Then you had Pigman Josh.
What?
Let's talk a little bit about that. So at the beginning, we found it really funny, didn't we? Because you've got this sort of tramp-like character with his bike.
Pigman Josh.
And it keeps going back to him, doesn't it? And his entire dialogue seems to be, wah, wah.
Pigman Josh.
Yeah, that's. I think he's my favourite actually.
Mine.
I'm going to put in a recommendation to Big Finish.
Pigman Josh series.
To do a Pigman Josh series.
It will get more. It will get more rave and anticipation than the 10th Doctors.
I think you might be right there.
Pigman Josh and Jacob. There'll be more series than Jacob and Lightfoot. There'll be at least 34 series.
Pigman Josh, what are you gonna do? We're in danger here. Look, the Daleks are attacking.
The exterminate.
Wow. That'd be brilliant. So, and it's funny actually, really, because it's in many respects that bit at the beginning is really out of context, isn't it? Because it had like quite a comedy feel about it.
Yeah.
Reminded me of Last of the Summer Wine. Which I don't know whether would you remember Last of the Wine? Have you ever seen any of that?
I've never seen it. I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's like an old comedy program. Definitely would recommend this story though.
Yeah.
Really
the ones we've watched on the randomize with John Pertwee have been very strong.
Do you know, the John Pertwee era is actually stronger than I thought it was.
Yeah, it is very strong.
There was some really cracking episodes. So, and this is one of them. Really good season by the sound of it.
Should we rate this?
Yeah, let's rate it. Yeah.
Okay. Monsters.
Okay.
Axons and the Master.
Axons and the Master. I think the Master is Delgado, so we're going to give it 9. The Axons, I think I might give the Axons. I'm going to give them 9 wahs.
Okay, 9 wahs. Character development, like Pigman Josh and stuff. What did you think of their characters? You have to give him a 10.
I think, I mean, joking aside, I think, like we said quite often, you don't really get too much character development in some of the classic ones. 7.
Okay. Excitement. Quite a lot.
Yeah. 8, maybe.
Okay. Yeah. Pace.
9 actually. It's got a really good pace to it. So even though not all of it's really fast paced, it had a good pace to it.
Yeah. Overall,
I'm gonna give it 8.7.
So that's 31 points. No, wait. 40, is it 41? 41.7 out of 50.
Do you think that's fair?
Yeah, I give it a 8.6.
Ooh. And that would actually tally, because if we look at our chart of things that we've watched in the randomizer, we've got, I think it was 60.
I never saw where yours was. Oh yeah, Claws of Axos is 13th.
So it's my 13th favourite episode, probably.
Mine 15th.
Yeah. So
probably.
Yeah. And that's out of 64, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
64 episodes we've watched so far on the since we started the randomizer.
So I give it 8.6 wahs.
Okay, 8.6 miles. So
Quite high praise indeed.
there we have it. What we're going to be watching next week? Is it time to press the magic
Yeah.
randomizer and see what we'll be reviewing? So if anyone doesn't know, randomizer, big spreadsheet. Every episode got 2. We press the button. It's got macro in it, and it comes up and selects something for us to view.
Ready?
Okay, yeah, let's go for it.
Ooh.
Oh, cracking!
A Troughton one this time.
Yes. We had any? Yeah, we only had one batch of charm.
We've had 2 actually.
Have we?
Enemy of the World and Moonbase.
Of course we had Moonbase. I forgot about Moonbase. So we were talking about this one the other day actually, and saying how we'd like to watch it, weren't we?
Yeah, and it is quite a good one.
So what is it?
It's the Ice Warriors. The
Yes.
debut story with the Ice Warriors in.
So what's is that a 4-parter?
It is
4-parter.
a 4-parter.
Brilliant. There we
No,
have it.
6-parter
Oh, it's a
actually.
6-parter, is it? So we'll have to
6-parter.
do that over 2 weeks then,
Yeah,
will we?
it's 2 weeks.
So we'll probably watch.
We'll be watching 3 parts per week.
Yeah. How does that work? Is that 2 on a Wednesday, 1 on a Saturday, or 1 on a
the way
Wednesday,
round.
2 on a Saturday? Oh, who knows? It's up to us really,
It's
isn't it?
up to us.
So that means we won't be pressing the magic randomizer next week, alas. But well, what we will be doing is enjoying, no doubt, the Ice Warriors.
Yes, hopefully.
So that probably brings us on to our final segment of the show, doesn't it?
Yes, and it's Who to Face. Who's it gonna be? Is it gonna be him? Or is it gonna be her? Or is it gonna be Pig Vin Josh? Is it gonna is it gonna be Who to Face today?
So who to face? Again, another big spreadsheet we put together. Another randomizer type concept. It's got all of the doctors in it. It's got not all the monsters, but quite a few monsters in it. Press the magic button and it will select 1 doctor, 1 villain, and we both then have a go at creating a story off the top of our heads with no preparation.
You're going
around
first.
It's unfortunately my turn to go first, which is
Yay!
always scary because I often don't even know what the monsters are. So shall I press it or are you going to press it?
You can press it. It's Who to Face today.
Okay, well, this is a challenging one. So it's the 8th Doctor, which is
Paul McGann.
Paul McGann, and the
Chronivores.
Chronivore. I don't even know what a Chronivore is.
So Chronivores basically
Yeah,
suck.
what is that?
Okay, look it up. See if there's a description for Chronivores.
So I'm going to be telling you a story about a monster that I've no idea what it is. But let's see. Which year is it from?
Pardon?
Which
John
year?
Pertwee.
John Pertwee. Which story is it from?
It's from Time Monster. Good one. Very good one.
Okay.
So the Chronivores were godlike transcendental beings who, as their name implied, fed on time itself. They were greatly feared and sometimes respected or worshipped because of this.
Okay, so they look like humans, do they? So they're sort of like spirit type things, are they? Is that right?
No.
No. Oh, no. So it says carnivores appeared as pure white humanoids with small wings and helmet-like heads. Have we got any pictures of them? I can really do with a picture of them, so at least I can visualize what story I'm going to be creating for them.
Them.
Oh, I've seen those things before. Okay, that's fine. Chronivores it is. Okay, then. So, 8th Doctor, we said, didn't we?
Yeah.
So, clones. This is so hard.
So they feed on time itself.
Yeah. Okay, right. So this one it's going to be called The Missing.
Yeah.
Okay. And it takes place just before the commencement of the Time War.
Yeah.
The Doctor is back on Earth.
Is there a companion or is it one-hander?
It is a companion.
him?
And his companion on this occasion is called Nita Bridges.
Okay.
And it's a new person I've just invented. And
Yeah.
she's got green punky hair.
Okay.
All right. Good old Nita. basically, she's like a student, and she's learning about history. And as she's like she's sort of talking in her class, and the doctor's sort of picked up this message that something weird's going on. So he's sort of like sat at the back of the class, just sort of taking in. He's pretended he's like a school inspector.
Okay.
And he's sort of like watching the class. And they start talking around history, and the whole of the Elizabethan period is gone.
Oh.
It's disappeared. And there's just this empty void of nothing having happened. So the doctor and whatever her name was, Nita decide
whatever her name was.
Basically, she sort of initially collapses as she's sort of talking about history. When it gets to the blank period, she sort of like faints. And the doctor sort of thinks, oh, we're going to have to find out something about this. And he takes Nita in the TARDIS, and they go back to the Elizabethan period. But there's nothing there. It's just like this white void.
Cool.
And this is where they come into contact with the chronivores. And as they're talking, they find out that it's not just the Elizabethan period that's gone. You've also lost the Holyrood period. You've lost World War One and the first space landing.
Ooh.
And it becomes a sort of like battle of minds between the Eighth Doctor and the chronivores as the Doctor tries to recreate great moments from time.
Okay, cool.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, good.
So that's it. I've not got into a great amount of detail. And at the end, everybody dies.
Just need to die.
They don't really know. In the end, it ends up with her back at school.
Is she just a one-off companion?
She's a one-off companion, but the interesting thing is when she goes back to the school and she starts talking about the lessons, there's an additional part of history that gets mentioned about after the after the Tudors, which involves an alien race. So it's sort of like a setup for a potential future story.
Cool.
Okay. That's mine. The Missing.
Okay. So mine's called The Feast of Time. Feast of Time. And the Doctor is joined by a companion called Jess. Jessica. And the Doctor and Jess are on their way to a holiday on Brazil because they've been busy fighting aliens. But they land in the Stone Age, and they go to one of the huts, and there's this guy who's a psychic. He can see the future, and he's writing loads of pictures on the walls, those Stone Age drawings.
Yeah, sort of like the cave drawings.
Yeah, the cave drawings, and he draws cave drawings of like black voids and people just dying, and there's one of this white creature, this creature with wings and a helmet, and next to it sees the Doctor. And then the Doctor the Doctor has to go throughout time to try and figure out where this creature is, because he's hidden in a precise point in time, a second. So he has to be captured in time.
Yeah. That's cool.
But time is, because he's doing this, because he's using all of the energy of the universe to hide in that precise moment. The universe is collapsing behind the Doctor, and time is dying from the Stone Age, but he has to try and stop it from collapsing by modern day Earth, because by the end of the universe, because if it collapses by the end of the universe, then everything ceases to exist, and there's nothingness ever. So
cool.
But then he finally finds this chronivore creature, and he's arrested in the town he once destroyed, Atlantis, and he's in the ruins of Atlantis, captured
Cool.
at that point and tortured and stuff.
Excellent. That's really good, actually. I really like that.
Thank you.
Brilliant.
Yours was good as well.
Yeah, it's quite a tough one when you get villains like that, particularly when it's villains from an episode I've never even seen before.
It's a good episode.
Is it?
I only watched it recently, though.
Yeah, this is the one that you said you thought was a lot better than people rate it.
Yeah. A lot.
Yeah. Okay, well, there we have it. That was this week's episode, really.
Yeah, it is.
So, what do we have on next week's show?
Well, it's episode 161, and we are looking at the 10 episodes that you should watch to bridge the gap between series 9 and 10. What episodes you should maybe give a second chance. Maybe some episodes which we may be looking back at the Dawn poll and thinking what episodes are underrated in there that we think are great.
Okay.
That you should try out again.
We'll also be giving our initial thoughts on the first few episodes of The Ice Warriors.
Yeah. We will be looking at more news and views.
We'll be having a 3-minute rant.
Yeah.
On a random subject.
And we will not be pressing the magic randomizer
No,
button.
we won't. But what we will be doing, though, is looking forward to seeing you guys again.
Next week.
I'm Deacle.
And I'm Lewis Moon.
And we'd like to thank you for listening yet again to our little podcast. And I hope you've enjoyed it. And I hope you return back this time next week.
Thank you.